Hey everybody, Tim Timmons here with another 10,000 minute experiment. To my right, hot right, I've got Chris Cleveland.
Man, hey guys.
We've got Amoy Donice across from me today.
Hello.
And then to
Everybody's
hot left.
Yeah.
We've got Miss Annie F. Down.
Hi.
Let's go. Okay, people, this is a great episode. This is with one of my heroes, Annie F. Downs. She's a great friend. I love who she is and what she does. And if you don't listen to her podcast, you should. It's called That Sounds Fun. So check her out. She's also a great author. So there's so much to learn in this podcast. I just want to thank Denise, Lee, Leanne, and Max Ann, and so many other people that are just giving every month. This podcast is totally supported by you guys. So if this has been encouraging, thank you for that. Also, I got a great encouragement from a woman named Joy. And it just made me think, who can we be encouraging today? Just speaking courage into somebody. So try it out today. It just works. So thank you, Joy. If you guys want to follow us on Facebook or the Instagrams, please do. Check us out. And also, if you want to get our free text messages or learn more about what 10,000 Minutes is doing, just go to 10,000minutes.com, 10,000minutes.com. And there are blogs up there and different things that hopefully are encouraging. Okay, people, get ready. Here we go.
What a treat.
What a treat.
I'm so,
Indeed.
I mean, I've never hung with them before, but this always works.
Yeah.
So I believe that any
So if it
fridge you
doesn't
would
work,
bring.
it's our fault.
Yeah, that's what I'm here to
That's
say.
fine.
This is a great Monday.
And everybody, we've got a guy named Craig in here. And Craig, what's Craig do? Craig is
Engineer.
just awesome. Craig is an engineer, and we basically engineer our crap every time we play
That's right. We don't have a Craig.
So
You're
Craig's
lucky.
like, hey man, your 2K's off. You know, he's super specific and awesome. He's gonna
So
tell us
good.
when we're like dumb, like that was a stupid bit. Erase that.
No, he doesn't do that. He doesn't edit content. He just keeps you, he just makes sure all the content gets recorded.
Nice.
We
It
might
only
need
takes-
the editor.
Yeah.
we need that.
That's generally
Have
how
y'all
we do
screwed
it.
up one yet? Because that's why he's here. Is I screwed up a very important conversation and didn't record both sides.
Oh.
And I was like, never again. I know my weaknesses. They are legion.
Yes.
And one of them is the recording part of a podcast. I can talk all day.
Yeah. No, you're really
It's
good
the
at that.
recording part that is not on me. So
Well,
thankfully
Craig,
we
if
have
this
Craig.
thing blows up, dude, you are hosed. It's totally your fault.
Yes.
So everybody,
good.
Craig's pretty good looking. He's I don't know how tall he is.
He
but
looks like 6'4".
totally
Oh my
6'4".
gosh, he's exactly 6'4".
Yeah.
Chris is good with
I
these
have
things,
a
guys.
really, I'm like
yes.
abnormally good at guessing people's heights.
Why?
Heights and like the prices of houses. Like you're really good at two things in life,
Yeah,
man.
it's so true.
Yeah.
How are the three of y'all friends?
I don't even understand how.
It just
We were
happened.
all through Journey Church in a little way.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
And then Chris and I we are both artists.
Yep.
Yes.
And we get to do this together. And
We
then
walk.
Now,
I was going to ask if y'all walk. You
We
do.
walk.
so he's one of my
I
walking
think about
partners.
that all the time, Tim. I think about the people you go on walks with. And I mean, I'm not kidding you. I bet every time I walk, I think about it at some point.
Yeah, I mean, I did. I shared that on our show
When you were on
together.
my show a couple
Okay.
of months ago, you talked about that, and it has impacted me.
Yeah, and if you guys have been listening to this, you know that our walks are not like we're walking as Christian
They're
people.
serious. 4 mile.
Yeah, the first time you came, he's like in his hot like artist outfit.
Yeah.
You know, like
Yeah.
all decked out.
Yes.
Artist
Oh, my
outfit.
goodness.
Yeah.
I mean,
even
he
know.
did come bandana and bun, which is
This is
2
like
points on artist bingo.
this is like I'm just carrying COVID over. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's really just laziness.
Not actual COVID, just
Yeah,
to be clear
and-
to people.
Yeah,
Touche.
not actual, just the style. And also, I
Just
wore
the
this. I wore
style.
this yesterday, and I had an outdoor show, and it was abnormally hot. So if I lift this bandana right now, I've got a nasty sunburn.
Yeah,
Were
yeah.
you in town or were you out of town?
It was like a couple
No.
hours away. Yeah, it was a whole thing. So now I've got this white streak, like right here, and I've been really good about not doing that all summer. Hit me yesterday.
Yeah, you nailed it.
You let it down.
I
You let
did.
your guard down.
No one's perfect. It's okay,
It's
Chris.
so true. Well, if I had hair, I'd do that.
Well, you know.
Oh no, not again.
Okay. So just so you know, on one of our episodes, we had my mom on.
Yeah.
It was so good. It was
Yeah.
on grief. It's like one of our highest
Yes.
actually rated.
It's a-
And I think Moy asked her, like, what would you, no, you said, Chris said
So
something
what's
like,
some advice for Tim that you haven't told him yet?
and she basically said, I wish he would keep his hair.
Okay.
Like that's your
It changes
choice?
every time.
I wish you would keep your hair.
Like, what would she say? What would she say
She
specifically?
said, she said something
Let
like,
what hair you have grow.
That's
okay,
what she
that's
said.
like an invitation. You made it like
No.
an expectation you were failing.
Let what hair you have
Mhm.
grow.
So,
Why
anywho,
does she want that?
You know why? It sounds fun. and that's going to be my transition.
For one of you.
Okay, ready. We'll just let it be. This is my show. I'll
Everybody,
let you host.
we're in Annie F Downs, and F stands for forgiven.
Yeah. Oh, thank you.
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
Annie Forgiven Downs.
I wish that was true.
It's like
I normally say
song.
fancy, like
I know.
Reba. I might have been born just plain white trash, but fancy was my name. So that's what I usually say.
Just so we all know, my first podcast I ever did that never came out,
Oh.
God bless Neil Diamond, was with Annie F Downs.
Wow.
When I came
You
to
came to
your
my house.
yes, you never released any of
No,
those.
because for things we don't need to talk about
Okay.
here.
Okay.
But
Did I do something wrong?
You did. You did.
That's
You said
like,
some
F for
inappropriate things.
forgiven.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
Right. You ruined my first entire
Yeah.
podcast show.
So we talked for a good hour
Oh, it was
about just
it meant
fancy
the
and all
world
the
to
F words
me.
we could come up with.
Oh no, not that part. I remember
Friendship.
I was dating someone and I was heartbroken and scared and excited and all the things. And you were such a gift in that. You were like,
Aw.
just let me encourage you about being a
Aw.
human. And I mean, I remember exactly where I was sitting. It was really important to
It
me.
was a good one.
So,
It was a good
thank
one.
you.
So we'll substitute most of this with some of that
With
content.
with that, yeah, good idea, good idea.
Well,
They'll
Annie
never
F
know.
Downs, that sounds fun, is your whole world,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So we're in a room right now that actually has your whole thing. It says
Yeah,
that
this is the
sounds
studio.
fun.
Yeah.
We've been doing tours with all this stuff, and
Yeah.
then we just had a hard, not
I
so
know.
fun conversation.
Yeah,
So-
about canceling or postponing it, truthfully, but just canceling it for the month of October and moving it to spring of 22.
Okay, so we're gonna go there. So
Okay.
why
I'll probably
does that
cry.
sound
It's very
fun?
fresh.
Because just for fun,
Yeah.
we're both similar on the Enneagram
Yes.
side of things, which
Yes.
if you guys don't know what that is, you're doing great. And it's just how we might see the world,
Yeah.
a lens that we might look through the world. And people would always see us and go, oh, you just think everything's fun.
Yeah.
I mean, there's so
Yeah.
many assumptions that come when
Yes.
you are a 7 on the Enneagram.
Yes.
So, but your whole world is about inviting people into fun.
Yeah.
So how does this all pan out into fun? When you're
I
canceling
know,
something
I
that you've been
know.
so excited about,
I know.
you're killing it, and then all of a sudden, this.
Yeah, I mean, as I said to you before we started, one of the choices I had to make in my 7ness, which is not my natural thing, is I didn't immediately solve it. I didn't immediately go, but you know what? Here's what I can do. And to our team, we said, we have this internal conversation we have a lot here at work of when something goes sideways, we say, what does this make possible? And it doesn't always make it feel better, but it is the question we get to roll around in our heads is, what does this make possible? It happened because when I was getting ready to write a book, I mean, I was like ready to write the book, was getting the book deal, was in meetings, and a book released with the title and was very similar to what I was going to write.
That sounds totally fun.
And it was, yeah, I mean, it
Was that
really
the
was
title?
shockingly close. And I panicked. And I said, well, there goes my career. And,
Yeah.
and my agent said, if someone else just wrote your book, what does that make possible for you?
Hmm.
And I thought, that is the right question. And I've just kept that. So while I have not asked myself to feel better, a version of Annie in my younger, hopefully less mature years would
Teens,
have.
'cause you're 24 now, right?
Yeah.
Right,
Oh my
right.
gosh, I would not train to be 24.
Right.
I am 41 with joy.
go on,
I
girl.
have done my 20s.
Come
I
on.
did my time.
Yeah.
I did my time. I lived every day of that. Thank God.
So 16-year-old, younger, 20-year-old.
Yeah, that Annie would have required, I cannot feel this pain, get me out of this. So let's talk about what could be good, and let's book a trip, and let's plan something else. And so I've been, in my grief, I've been so proud of myself because I just haven't forced this to be over. Because I think what I'm learning is when you grieve something, it means you value it.
Wow.
And I think I thought I valued things, but I was so willing to get over them. And I'm doing that differently. And I think it also says in scripture that when you mourn, you'll be comforted.
Mm-hmm.
And I have not been good at letting myself do the first part of that. I've hurried from the tragedy to the comfort. And so it has not been fun. It's not fun to take away 11 people's jobs
Right.
that we're going to tour with you
Right. Right.
and add work to the promoter who I care about as people, as well as the partner that I'm grateful for. What we believe is obedience is hurting people.
Mm-hmm.
And that is really hard for me. We will look back at, I know I'm at my own table and I haven't got my own tissue. Thank you. We will look back, as with most things, and we will go, this is why that made sense to some degree. I don't think everything always makes sense. But when we tour in the spring, we'll go, oh, yes, of course. People feel safer. I mean, so much of it is a COVID decision.
Yeah.
It is where we're going and how people where we are going feel about COVID and how it is affecting. And then there were all these weird closed doors. I know how that goes, where my management team was doing such a great job of just sorting it out. And then all of a sudden they're like, we need to tell you these 3 things that aren't working. And I was like, what?
Yeah.
Well, are we supposed to do this?
Yeah.
Like, God has closed every door. We can't do this.
Yeah.
And we have to obey that. But it makes me sad that it has made people unemployed, and including me. And
Is that your?
I care so much more about your character than your career.
Come on, man.
And so I want him to always care more about my character than my career.
Yeah.
I just don't always care more about my character than my career.
Yep.
And so it has been a hard week.
Yeah.
So, but
Sorry.
it is right and good. And we think it's right and good. What if we're wrong? Okay. We did the best decision we knew how to make with the information that we had.
Yeah.
And with who I think God is and how I experience him. So
Thank
we
you.
will be all right. Sorry, I
So,
cried. Do
girl-
people cry a lot on this?
Yeah, we're doing.
I've
great.
only heard a couple of
Mainly
episodes where
Tim.
people
Mainly
cry.
Tim.
Mainly
Yeah.
Tim.
Like, this thing
Yeah.
sucks.
The couple of episodes I listened to have not been teary in the first 4.5.
No, we're doing great. It's one of the things I love so much about you, Annie. You are, I mean, it's why everybody loves listening to you, is because you are you and you're willing to listen to and work on your crap and yet open yourself up to other people. You're so beautiful.
Oh,
So I love that
That means
about
a
you.
lot
I've
to me.
always loved that
Thank
about
you.
you. So well done.
Thank
and
you.
thank you for bringing that here and being that person.
yeah.
So one of the things that I wanted to lean into was actually this kind of idea of that sounds fun,
Yeah.
which most people go, oh, that's so great for her because she's just happy.
Yeah. It's just easy for her. Yeah.
So I love that we even went here
yeah.
this early because
Yeah.
I'm trying to think through and help people figure out how do I live. We're in a series right now in practicing the presence of God.
Oh,
So I want to jump into how do we practice the presence of God in fun? Like, what's
Yeah.
that look like? 'Cause,
Yeah.
you know, we were talking, Moy and I were talking earlier that that's not a normal word that we use for presence of God.
yeah.
So I wanted to get into that, but also how does the presence of God, how's this fun in the midst of crap?
Yeah.
Mhm.
I mean, that is our challenge, right? I mean, that's what that dear theological movie Inside Out taught us
Oh,
is that actually joy and sadness need to coexist.
that's right.
Right.
Right? We are actually more human when you let both exist. And I've experienced that. I think that's really true. Whereas I didn't always believe that. I do now. I do think, I mean, practicing the presence of God is one of my favorite phrases to hear someone say, because I saw a parent say this on Instagram today, that she said, the number one thing I teach my kids is Jesus, because he's the only thing that won't change. Like everything else is going to go away except him. And so practicing the presence of God, I immediately picture myself in the room where I read and pray in the mornings and just think like, man, even this morning I sat there and had to be like, how do we do this? How do we do this? How do we do this well? And yet I find God to be incredibly fun. I was teaching, I'm part of the teaching team at Crosspoint Church here. I had fasted the week leading up to teaching. So I was hungry by the time I'm teaching on Sunday. And we teach 3 times and then I ate dinner.
Yeah.
So I hadn't eaten for some days. And God's friendship and his humor, I'm like getting up and teaching and it's thundering outside. And I say at the beginning, hey, every time it thunders, it means God agrees with me. Like, everybody laughs. And in my head, I'm thinking, it's almost dinner time. And because it's the 5:30 service. And I'm thinking, there is no discipline that I better experience the presence of God than through fasting. I do not, I will preach fasting from start to finish, back to front. There is nothing. And part of that is also what I tend to lean toward in addiction and in mishandling is probably food the most.
Interesting.
And so fasting is really cutting at the core of my go-to things. Yeah. So that's probably why it's such an intense practicing the presence of God for me. So I'm up there and I say it's thundering every time, every time God agrees with me. And I'm doing this part at the very top of the talk where I'm like, well, if anybody that they could have picked for the teaching team to bring this topic today, it's me, because who's more dramatic than me? And it thunders.
Oh
Like, you
my gosh.
you could not believe. And I died laughing, and I almost burst into tears because I thought, he is so funny and he wants me to enjoy him. This is God saying, thanks for fasting this week before you taught. Let me do this one hilarious thing that you will know is me, that no one could have made that up. And so he does fun stuff like that all the time, I think. I think for all the serious Easter eggs we look for and all the like, okay, did that line up with that? And did that line up with that? No, that's the decision I'm supposed, like I'm talking about the doors closing for a tour for October. Like, that's not fun to see all those things align, but it was right. And yet when I also experience him to do fun things like that too.
Right. You think that's part of just like awakening to the presence more?
Yes.
Like, not just like, you have to practice that. Like, so part of the fasting is opening yourself up in like this serious way to be able to experience like the more fun pieces.
Yes.
So now you're seeing God in all of these places instead of just these like really rigid places that you've seen him before.
Yeah.
I love that, because we look for God in all of these like righteous places or whatever things that we expect him to be.
When
in.
you have a hard decision to make, or when you have something big to do, you look for him and like, well, the clock said 6:15 and Romans 6:15 has always meant a lot to me. And I am about that life.
I was like the kid who would flip through the Bible and be like, but stop.
Yes.
What does this say for my life right this second? You know.
And thank God for God, because he like will show up and meet you in that, right?
Sure.
Like, I love all that stuff, but I also think I said to Bethany Dillon was on the podcast, Bethany Bernard, and we were talking about how we both at some point in the last year have said to God, I hate how you're handling this.
Oh, wow.
Like, I actually hate how you're handling this, and I don't hate you, but I hate how you're handling this. And in that, I told her, I was like, I've been a Christian for 41. I got saved when I was 5 and I meant it. So 36 years. I have never said that to him. I've always been afraid to say that to him. And what ended up happening, that y'all probably already know, what ended up happening is I felt closer to him after we wrestled that down than I did before.
Yeah.
And so then you go like, oh, so to your thing, Chris, what I'm sensing from God in my own experience this year is that the more I will show up to him honestly, the better of friends we are.
Yeah.
And so then when he thunders in the middle of my talk about being a dramatic person, I go like, you get me.
Yeah,
I get you to some degree. I mean, his ways are not ours. But do you know what I mean? Like, oh, we're like same.
Exactly.
We're on the same page.
I love the shift in perspective that you have, even talking about Torah and all these kind of things, that it is something lost and you're okay sitting in that, which none of us do very well. But also there's a flip of perspective of opportunity. That was one of the things I had to learn at the top of COVID.
Sure.
When we lost all of our shows and everything went away, and there'd been like years of work to get to that point, but it was like a week of, oh my God, what in the world is going on? And then I think it was like during Lent at the time, and one of my friends said, hey, in Lent we give something up, but it's not about what we give, it's about what we replace it with, right? And so what can you replace with this? And so it feels like this Lenten practice that you're taking like into all of your life, which is really powerful, which makes you have the ability to have fun in the moments that aren't.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's really profoundly true.
So you'll be trying to figure out what to fill this empty space in these next month or whatever, the next weeks. Yeah, next month. Yeah, I will. I had some, there was a wedding I had said no to that I obviously couldn't be at. And so as soon as I announced, someone said, well, do you want to come teach at this? And are you going to get to come to the wedding? And I was like, I need 18 more minutes before I even think about all of a sudden I'm not going to be in Albuquerque. So I wasn't going to be in Albuquerque, but that keeps being the city we pick. All of a sudden I'm not going to be doing all these things. And so therefore give me a minute. But yeah, I mean, that is a fun thing. I haven't even done it yet, honestly, Tim. I mean, we're recording this on Monday morning and I haven't gone there yet. We came right into staff meeting and then I came into a podcast. Gosh, that was today.
No, it was Thursday.
Okay.
But we weren't in the office together Friday. And so this is our first time all being together. And so I will do that tomorrow, I think. I think that's what's in my head. And what I've kind of said is on Tuesday, you can start thinking about what this means for you. So it'll be one of those things. I like to picture that when we get to heaven, there'll be a lot of charts we can look at. And like,
gosh, that sounds like hell.
No. Listen, it'll be charts
I'm
like,
getting excited.
if you, right? Are you ready? It'll be charts like, if you wouldn't have made that record, here's what the world wouldn't have gotten.
Choose your own adventure.
Yes.
Okay. Find your,
so because y'all make this show, here's the chart of if you'd have never made this show of impact. Here's the chart because you did.
Wow.
And I just think we're going to get to see charts like that. And what I want to see after this tour postponing is I want to see a chart that tracks every person's life that was going to be at a show, whether it's a person in the audience or our live podcast guest or my crew, and just go, this is the trajectory that changed, even if it's just 2%, because they had October back and they thought they weren't going to have October. And so I'm banking on that chart.
On
That's
the
about
bright
all I know.
side, October is like the best month in Nashville.
I haven't been home in October. Have y'all ever been home in October?
Yes.
And I am some
year.
this.
Oh yeah,
this
last year actually. Last year we were home in October last year.
I wasn't.
you weren't?
I did these like drive-in outdoor
Oh,
things.
that's
I like
brilliant.
worked harder than I've ever worked in my life.
I know. Last fall y'all went
It was
hard.
crazy.
Yeah.
I've never been home. And I'm going to be home.
I've
some
never
this
seen
month.
in October.
And
yeah.
I'm like I get like seconds of it, like we have like last weekend. I'm like, oh, this is beautiful. I need to stay up. Nope, I guess not.
yeah.
So hey, maybe you get to breathe some fresh air.
That's right. There is
Be
something.
good.
There are things that are acorns that could not have become oaks. And so I am just banking on seeing some acorns grow over the next couple of weeks.
That's a bumper
Well,
sticker.
speaking of acorns, should be the bumper
Interesting.
sticker.
Okay.
Yeah. That was just the best segue I could possibly
Yeah, I like
do
it.
right there. Annie, you have an awful lot of people in this room that come in this room. I've been one of those people.
Yeah.
But I am very curious whenever I talk to a therapist or somebody who deals with a lot of people all the time. I remember talking to my doctor. I say, hey, what do you learn about people?
Yeah.
And my oncologist, I remember she said, a lot of people pray in here, but not many people surrender. That's what she said.
Oh,
it was
Lord.
like this.
Gosh.
Oh, my
Oh,
gosh.
Lord.
I mean.
And so I just took my phone out and just taking notes. But I love asking people what they learn about people, because you are having so many conversations with so many people
Mhm.
right now on every level of everything.
Yep.
What do you learn about people?
I mean, I think the number one thing we see in here when we're recording podcasts is just about everyone is showing up because they have a thing to talk about. And most of them are not used to being listened to by the person interviewing. They're used to being questioned and then next questioned and next questioned. You've experienced that. I've experienced that where you go like, you didn't hear the thing I said. You just had the next question you had in line.
Yeah.
And I think, like I said, I have a lot of major flaws. One of my giftings that God put in me is I think people are really interesting.
Yeah.
I'm very curious as a person. Like it is taking all my self-control not to turn this on the three of y'all, which I already did. Like, how do y'all know each other?
Right,
You know,
right.
I just am so curious. And so I think people want to be seen.
Yeah.
Is kind of the number one thing is if you just see the person in the room with you. That goes a long way. That's my biggest takeaway. I think that is the only thing that's coming to my mind is I love when I can tell people, because they'll say things like, "You're great at this," and I'll think, "No, I didn't ask you a single question someone has not asked you before.
Yeah.
I am not gonna get a Peabody. Like I'm not Barbara Walters. You just feel like I care,
Yeah.
Right.
and you're not used to being interviewed by people who care." And so they think they're having this experience. What Craig and I know, because he's in here for all of them too, is they just feel cared for and that I'm their friend. And great. You know, no Peabody's calling me for that, which is fine. I don't need that. I like that these people come in and sit down and leave. And our hope is that it's as big a gift to our guest as it is to our audience. These conversations, what y'all make is such a gift to the audience. And my hope is always that the guest feels that too.
That they would have had a fun experience.
Yeah, totally. That it was fun for them, that it wasn't hard, that, that I didn't push into an area that, when someone's in here and there's a real public breakup of their
make
band.
them cry?
Yeah.
Like,
Didn't make them cry. No.
in the first
But I'm
5
like,
minutes?
No, not that.
Okay.
I will do that.
I
We're
was
winning.
just on
We're
page
winning.
6.
But
I read a few,
someone will get divorced or their band will break up and they come in here and they're going, well, my PR person's making me do this, but I don't know this girl. Is the first question going to be about my divorce?
Right.
Yeah.
And then we don't do that unless they say we can. And so I think I think that kind of stuff, when people feel like they have a good experience, that matters a lot to me.
Yeah.
It's like a songwrite. It's a quick, like when we get together
date.
to write songs,
Yep.
what you're talking about to me is like, man, how can I practice that? How can I like be the one that's really listening to people? I think it's the same in a songwriting. Like, can I listen to you and find the song in it? Can I listen to you and find the story or whatever? How can we do that every day? You know?
I think about that, and I think this is not a mask pro or anti statement. We have lost our ability to read people's faces when people wear masks. And so in the grocery store, I try really hard to make eye contact because I feel like also I'm extroverted times 1,000. And so I'm like missing out on 9 new friends every time I go to the grocery store because we have masks on. And so I'm just aware in the places we don't have to wear a mask, the places we do choose to wear a mask or have to wear a mask, that we're getting this opportunity to do that same thing of like really see people. Because for a year either we were in our homes or we were so covered we couldn't. And so I'm thankful for that. It is a practice I try to do.
What other practices do you put in your life? What other practices do you have in your life?
I read the Bible every day. I've not done that forever. I've probably done that for a decade, maybe. And I say every day. There are days I sleep in. There are days I have somewhere to be in the morning.
Okay, we're going to cut. Things. Craig, can we cut?
Yeah, she lied.
From here on out?
She lied. She absolutely lied.
Wow.
That is a practice to me that is the only, it is the only thing I can tie to. It is the only mast I will tie to. Is that this ship is going to rock back and forth. Things are going to go sideways, but I can. But then yesterday, I'm here dealing just with the Lord, sitting with the Lord, and going like, how do I emotionally survive this tour postponing and lead my team and lead the people and respond to the people who have feelings and all the things. And it is only because Scripture reminds me that God prunes the stuff that is producing fruit. He doesn't prune the stuff that isn't good. He prunes what produces fruit. And then I go, oh, we have hope. Okay, we have hope. We have hope. And so then the only way I can bring hope into a situation is if I first found hope. Right. And so that's a practice is I really believe in that.
Was there a time before that was just the rote thing to do? I think we all grew up with this idea of
of course, like a
read
quiet
your
time.
Bible and do all that stuff.
Right.
So how does this, because somebody hears that right away and they don't know you.
Yep.
And when I hear that from you, I'm like, ooh, that I love that.
There?
Like I respect that in you, yet early young Annie.
Oh, yeah.
I may not have respected when you said, I do my quiet time every day, which is wonderful. But
and I definitely don't call it a quiet time because what do I do that's quiet? My quiet time is when I'm asleep.
Right.
That's my quiet time.
Maybe.
Yeah, I don't know. No one's there. So we can talk about that later. So we have this thing in Christianity. Oh, yeah, I'm just going to do this.
Let's go.
We have this thing in Christianity where we feel like we have to make everything easy for everybody else for them to do it.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I just want to be like, hey, you actually just need to read your Bible every day. It isn't easy. It isn't always fun. But if you want to be the person you want to be, you're going to have to do disciplines you don't like and that don't always feel good and that feel like, how could I ever do that? I don't know.
Hence the word discipline. Yeah.
Yeah. Just like start doing it. And so part of me wants to push back even on the timid person saying, I could never do that. I'm like, yeah, actually you could. Cause I bet you check Twitter every day.
Right.
Like I could do that awful thing that I hate when people do that to me. Yeah. Like, is it Keller that says something like, when we get to heaven and look at how much time we spend online, we'll realize that it wasn't that we didn't have time to pray or something horrifying like that just ruins my life.
I hope there's no like ticker tape.
No. I've already got one on my phone and it ruins my life.
Sunday morning.
Every Sunday?
Yeah.
Oh my God. I feel seen.
I know. I know.
I won't even tell people
it's
how
so
much
bad.
it is, but it's
I ignore mine.
So bad. Okay, so part of me just says we just need to read our Bibles. But the other part, I mean, the version of me that didn't make a discipline of this, I think the reason it has become a needed discipline is I have seen strength come from it that I did not have before. I have weathered things better. And I would trace it back to being more consistent in the Word. And so I would just say to people, read every day for a month. And if you're not stronger at the end, don't do it anymore. I'm not the boss of you.
Yeah.
But if you read 3 chapters of the Gospels every day, you read the whole Gospels in a month. So Matthew 1 through 3, Matthew 4 through 6. If you do 3 a day, you're done in a month with Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. So do that for a month. And if it hasn't improved your life, don't do it anymore.
Yeah.
I don't care.
Yeah.
It's money back guarantee. I'll give you back everything you paid me for that piece of advice. I don't care.
Right.
But so for me, Tim, it has been significantly important to me.
Yeah.
There are other things that people have said on y'all's show when you ask that I don't think of and don't make time for.
Yeah.
And don't,
Yeah.
And so
There have been a lot of better answers. I'll be
yeah,
honest.
that's right. You're right.
But
You're
I feel
right.
like that was no, I'm totally kidding.
Does it sound too? I don't want it to sound legalistic, but I also am tired of us acting like every time something feels hard, it's legalistic.
Yeah.
No, it's just hard.
I guess that's why, I know you, so I
Yes.
see that.
Yes,
and
yes,
yet we
right.
hear that in our culture, and it's like our church culture goes, no, hell no, I'm out of that
Right,
thing.
right.
But knowing you, there's great credibility there.
Oh, thanks. Yeah.
But even like that challenge, it's like, well, if this works, great. If not, great. But why not try?
That's what every gym says to you.
Right.
It's what every diet says to you is we're going to give you 4 weeks free at Planet Fitness.
Yep.
And if you come every day and your body isn't different, don't come back. I mean, every discipline that people try to convince us will make us healthier gives us a trial run because they are so sure that it will actually change your life. I think the same.
So you talk to a lot of people all
Yes,
the
sir.
time about fun. What are people's biggest pushbacks?
When we are asking them what sounds fun to you and kind of asking like what is fun to you, there's a couple of things that happen. It's really interesting because the first thing that usually happens is people shame their own fun. Well, you might not think this is fun, or I don't know if you're going to think, no one probably is going to care about this answer. Everybody shames their own fun because when we were in elementary school on the playground, there was the cool thing to do and then there was everything else. And we are still kids on the playground all the time.
Yeah.
And so people shame their own fun a lot, which is fascinating. So I usually get to stop and go, hey, you don't have to shame your fun here. If it's fun to you, it's fun to me. Fine. You're allowed to, whatever you think is fun is probably fun. If it's not injuring anybody or hurting our planet, game on. So that is an interesting thing that happens. The barriers people express when they say to me, I don't have fun. I don't know how to make time for fun is a lot of it.
Because they feel what, guilt? Is it,
because fun doesn't pay the bills and fun doesn't raise your kids and fun isn't
I would agree
making
with
time
that.
to read your Bible and fun isn't, our days are already pretty full. If someone's listening to this podcast, they're not doing it sitting at the table doing nothing else.
Right.
That's right.
Podcasts are exploding globally because they can be multitasked and not a lot of things can be, right?
Yep.
I mean, and so we can't read books while we're doing anything else. We can listen while we're doing something else. And so I think that is part of it is a time crunch thing people have. But again, you make space in your life for every single thing that you believe makes you healthier.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Or happier.
Right. Right.
And so, because Oreos may not make you healthier, but if you think they make you happier, you're making space for them. The gym, your spiritual disciplines, you're going to a therapist. I make space to see my counselor because I genuinely believe it has made me healthier over the last 7 or 8 years. I think fun actually is that too. I think having fun, choosing fun, making space for fun, even if it's just a 30-minute block on your calendar once a week that you just write fun. And then what ends up happening is all week long, whoever your people are, your family, your friends, you're going, well, what are we going to do from 2 to 2:30 on Saturday? What is fun? And then all of a sudden you're having this conversation around the table of, well, if we had 30 minutes, what would you do? And then all of a sudden you're getting these, because what does scripture say? But that eternity is built into our hearts. We long all the time for a place we haven't been yet and a place we already miss. Right. And what fun actually here's the other thing. When you dig down into someone's fun. So do this, put 30 minutes on your calendar, sit around the table, say Saturday, we're going to do 30 minutes of fun. The kids have to answer, you have to answer, your spouse has to answer, your friends, if it's with your crew.
Nervous.
And then, they say, okay, what sounds fun to you? Riding my bike. Why? I just love riding my bike. Why? Today. Every answer will go down to 2 reasons. When you pin it all the way down, it is something that happened in your childhood, something you love about childhood, or something with your grandparents.
Yeah.
Every answer goes to your childhood or your grandparents. And why that's fascinating is what is in our hearts that we long for is simplicity. And we long for innocence. And that is eternity set in our hearts. So what fun actually does when you let it do its thing is it reminds you of eternity. And so we don't think that. We think fun is just going to take up time and we think it's fun. But like when I go to a baseball game, when I go to a Nashville Sounds game and get a hot dog and I'm sitting with my pals and we're like cheering, like it's so fun. It's fun because I'm with people and being with people reminds me about community and who God is and what it's like for him to be near. I grew up going to baseball games with with my dad. And so
Yeah.
it's like a family thing. And games are fun and we're outside and there's something about nature that all the time people 5 out of 6 times will say something outside when you say what sounds fun to you.
Mm-hmm.
And especially if you're asking in the spring, summer. So, I mean, it is a fascinating
Love that.
answer.
Even as a practice, just with friends. I mean,
Yes. Because if
what
you
you're
will,
about.
if you'll do 3 whys after you ask them what sounds fun to you, you will get to their childhood or to their grandparents. It is bananas.
Okay, so take a second. What sounds fun to you? Why does that sound fun? What does that bring you back to? Do you make space for this thing? What would it look like to do this in the presence of God as you join Jesus as you're doing this thing? Maybe this week, let's consider asking some people around us, our friends, family, coworkers. Let's just be curious about others. What sounds fun to them?
It's bananas how impactful grandparents are when they're good.
Do you find that with parents as well?
No.
Is that okay? So that's
Never.
Not even a thing.
I can't. I mean,
Interesting.
Craig might be able to call me a liar here,
Yeah.
but I can't think of a time where someone has talked about their parents. I don't think it has ever boiled down to parents. It has always boiled down to childhood. So
Yeah.
your parents are involved in that,
Yeah.
but it has always boiled down to childhood or not siblings, not cousins, it is grandparents.
Literally happened to me today. Like we were on the phone before we came, and I was like, "Oh, I just went and looked at this land." I was with my wife, and I was like, "I don't know what." I was like, "I think it's because of my grandpa." Because it took me all the way back there. It's like I just want to connect with them.
Yes.
And he had farms, and he worked his land, and I was like, it simply came down to that. So I'm with you.
Isn't that fascinating?
I know. It's crazy.
It makes me ask a lot of questions to God about it. I mean, what is it about grandparents and what is it? It's so beautiful.
Yeah.
And not everybody had a great grandparent experience.
Right.
It's not
Right.
24/7 good grandparent life,
Right.
right? But the ones who did have a real profound connection
Yeah.
to it. And it is wild.
I know when Kinsey and I both lost, I lost my grandpa and she lost her grandma, which were in the same year, the biggest people in our lives.
Yeah.
That hit us harder, I think, than anything ever did in our lives. It is kind of crazy the impact that they
Because losing
have.
a grandparent, if you have a good connection, like it sounds like y'all did, is a loss of innocence.
Yeah.
Something happens when that generation leaves your family where suddenly you're number 2 in line, not number 3.
Yeah.
And so it also is this shift into adulthood
Mm-hmm.
that does not feel comfortable.
Yeah.
We leave something of childhood when that happens.
Mm-hmm.
And our hearts long for eternity.
Mm-hmm.
And they long for the simplicity that we know will exist again.
Yeah, I feel like I've been on a journey of finding that simplicity since then, honestly.
Mm.
And I think a lot of these practices that we do, finding the presence of God, figuring out, finding fun, is that process of when we're forced into real life
Yeah.
and we've lost that innocence, how do we circle back around and find it?
And
Yeah.
that's the thing is it's never going to totally satisfy
Yeah.
because it is never going to fill you all the way.
What's not going to fill?
The finding. So even if he buys that land,
Yeah.
he buys that
Right.
land,
Right.
and then it's kind of like, oh, I thought,
Yeah.
but it's not
So
all the way
true.
there.
Yeah.
There's I can make my grandmother's recipes, but it's not like cooking with her.
Yeah.
But we can make the recipe.
Uh-huh.
So you can get these glimpses and these
So true.
tastes. And so we have to remove the pressure on our fun to, I heard John Eldridge talking about this on his podcast about how we spent all summer trying to be full of fun and excitement because we're out of the pandemic and
Yeah.
look.
Yeah,
And then we
yeah.
got to the fall and we aren't okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
And you're like, wait, I thought.
Yep.
Yeah.
And it's because nothing ever satisfies the thing. Nothing
Yeah.
ever satisfies the thing. We eat lunch and we want dinner. We are a people
Yeah.
that want.
Yep.
And so, but there's such beauty in finding the land and going, this gives me a taste of that thing I missed.
Mhm.
God, fill the rest.
Yeah.
Make a way. Also, I'm going to be human and I'm always going to, the unmarried people at this table, the two of us, would say to you, I bet when I get married, ...
Totally.
And we will always long.
Yeah.
We will never be all the way satisfied. And so you go like, oh, at least I know. Poor guy that I would have married at 24 versus the guy I'll marry now, who I'm like, man, the guy at 24 thought I thought he was going to meet all the needs.
Yeah.
This guy, I know I'm still going to long. And I know it's still going to be pieces that are empty, but man, what a glimpse he will be of the good.
It's putting things in the right perspective, right? I mean, it's like it's giving it its own, it's like that land, let's say, or this guy, it's giving them their place in life, but it's not giving them or those things
The place.
The place. I mean, it's
right.
so
That's
cliche.
it.
I mean, that was huge in our marriage when we had to figure that. There's so many angles I could take on this, I feel like, because you're right on in relationships. To me, this is the kingdom, right?
Yes.
So like
this is practicing the presence of God, right?
Connected all together, and like that's the design. So it's like the kingdom is here and not yet.
Yes.
And so we get glimpses of it, but we're still never fully satisfied, but we can still lean into it. We can still find it. We can still find the presence of God. We can still bring heaven to earth in all of these little fun moments together.
Yes. It's the don't let go of what you have found. Buy the land if you want the land, right? Like don't let go of the thing you found, but also don't expect it to be the thing.
Right.
And it is, I mean, it is back to inside out. It is holding joy and sadness.
It's a healthy balance.
Of believe the thing, the fun that is telling you about God and telling you about yourself and telling you about your life. Like believe it. It is fun and it's wonderful. Also believe the little piece of sadness that is there that says, oh, this didn't fill me all the way up.
Yeah.
It didn't fill me all the way up. I thought for sure it was going to.
So good,
I thought I
Annie.
had found the thing.
So good.
And then you go, okay, good. Both are true.
Yeah.
This is the not yet and the kingdom
And the
is
church
here.
hasn't done a good job of saying both are true. Like we've said, oh, this is the thing. Take this and you'll be good, and don't worry about the rest. Oh, maybe just do this a little harder because it's not like just go a little harder. And so what I love about what you're saying is like, no. Like it's permission. It's like what we talked about in grief and all the other things. Like that's permission to do it all and to feel it all and to live it all and to find God in all the places.
And it's also rethinking what a full life really is, because we value producing and we value work. We value showcasing something, but kind of like CZ, rethinking rest. Like it's a need. It's a craving to have fun.
Yes.
It's not like trying to create the perfect day and I had 30 minutes of fun. It's I will always crave fun.
Yes.
So I can either neglect it and then miss a piece of God's character or try to always seek it out.
Yes. That's exactly right. CZ, man.
Yeah,
He's
okay.
brilliant.
Yeah, whatever on him.
Yeah.
Speaking of acorns, guys, I thought that was.
I did. I liked it.
That one was better. That one was better.
That got me.
You're fun.
Annie, thank you.
Said you're fine.
You say find or fun?
Fine.
Because sometimes we find each other too, you know.
I found you.
Okay, so girl, we're gonna do a quick 10,000 thoughts.
Oh, yay. Let's go.
Yeah, I mean this is speed round.
I will. I believe you.
Don't you dare try
Don't
to think
expound.
through this crap.
Yeah.
Right?
No.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because this sounds fun. You ready?
Yes, sir.
I'm just gonna say something.
Okay. And I'm just supposed to say the first thing that comes to my mind.
Acorns.
That's right. Oats. They're coming.
Oats. Okay. Nickname.
My dad, well, most people call me Annie F. A lot of people call me F. My dad calls me Fosse, like the old dancer.
What was that? I don't know about
Googling
this,
that
this
later.
Fosse.
Yeah. Fosse.
Yeah.
That's how
I dated her
spelled,
for a little bit, but I remember
Oh my
she was never like.
Oh boy.
Was she
well
like 800
done.
years old?
Yeah, that's right. But the best part, it's a guy, actually. So, he's a choreographer.
Not paying much attention on that day.
Plot twist. Because my actual name is Annie, I don't get a lot of nicknames.
Yeah.
So,
Whew. Gosh, I'm.
no, we can cut
I
all
think
that.
we're gonna
except-
cut.
No,
yeah,
we're keeping
sorry.
all of it.
Okay, bucket list.
Well, What do I really want to see Greece, and I want to get married. I mean, I'd love to. That's on my bucket list of things I'd like to do.
Yep.
I'd love to get married and I would love to go to Greece.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Knock 'em both out.
yeah.
Hold on.
Yeah, it's very Mamma Mia.
Go
of me.
to Greece or see Greece? I've been thinking it was the
musical?
The musical. I was like, girl, we could
certainly. You're like, Andy, that's a movie.
We could go.
Just go get it from the Blockbuster.
text
No,
it to
go
you.
to the
Hope's
country.
Blockbuster.
I would like to
Okay.
go to the country,
Blockbuster.
Greece. Yeah.
So I was thinking of a whole Greece wedding, like
Yeah.
the
Oh my
songs.
gosh. We
Hey,
go
yeah,
together.
totally. I think I did. Oh my gosh.
No,
Okay.
what?
Yeah.
Just say
So
it.
when I was in high school, all the
Uh-huh.
cheerleaders, I was a little freshman, and the
Okay.
senior cheerleaders had some of us guys. Oh gosh, this is so inappropriate. Now when I think back on it, but there was a
The times were different in the 60s.
so different.
I got him.
What were those things where it was like a talent show, but it was like lip sync? It was a lip sync,
Okay.
and they did the reproduction song.
Uh-huh. Wow.
And I'm not,
And you were in it?
I was in it. I was like, who knows what I was doing in that thing? It just when I look back, I go, what?
I
How
wish
did-
if anyone could find that VHS.
There's so
we'd
many
be
things
very
we're trying
big.
to find.
like the
Yeah.
Got some
babes.
sleuths out there. They'll
And
find
then
it.
a few of us dorky freshman kids. Okay, hi, Tim Timmons here. Pet peeve.
When people are late.
Ooh.
It's just hard. Just be on time.
Yeah.
It's just hard. When people, but also there are times where I end up somewhere late too, but that's kind of a pet peeve.
Okay, love that. Thank you. Noted, everybody.
Y'all were early.
We were.
Yeah, we did what we could because we knew that already. And we're
Oh my
like,
gosh, you're like,
Yeah.
Do you have a joke? Can you tell a joke?
Oh yeah, what did the 0 say to the 8?
You're zate.
Nice belt.
That's funny.
I like that one a lot.
That's funny. I don't think I get it yet.
Okay, so look at a 0 and look at an 8.
Yeah.
It looks like a 0 with a belt on.
So
I think it's very good. Chris does not. No, he
Are you
can't
trying to
even
do the-
look
I'm
me in the
trying to do the
eye
math on
anymore.
it.
I'm trying to laugh.
You don't have to.
Could you
I didn't tell a joke. I did it for myself.
yeah.
I love that joke.
I just love that you know a joke.
Oh yeah.
man.
People
Yeah.
I'm glad
ask
you
me all the
went
time,
there.
I don't know any jokes.
I'm glad you went there.
All right. Biggest regret.
Oh,
And I just
gosh.
said wigwet. Just so everybody knows.
That
Well,
was
that
it.
was
Right,
yours.
That was it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we know yours. Go ahead.
Oh gosh, I don't know that I have one. I don't know that. But I mean, to stay on theme of what we're talking about, there are spiritual disciplines I regret not putting into my life on a daily basis sooner. So what that even tells me as I'm saying that is like, what can I do now so I don't say that in 5 years?
Wow.
So
Yeah.
there are ways I wish I'd have been more disciplined earlier.
Yeah. Whew. Current 3 top songs.
Ooh, okay. What
It
am I?
doesn't have to be top current. It can just be top.
Doesn't
3
have to be
songs.
Tim's.
yeah.
I mean,
yeah,
besides-
it has to just be y'all
Besides,
songs.
Yeah.
Let me. Can I open my playlist? Oh my gosh! Always
Lord, I
top.
love to sing your praises. I'm just
Wow.
making
We're
some
gonna get
time.
striked, man. We're
gonna get striked.
Oh, we are gonna strike.
Okay. Let me look at this guy's other name.
Tom Timmons.
Well, that's very funny. There's a song called "Catch Me Singing." Are y'all listening to this yet?
No.
From the Worship
No.
Initiative, and the whole idea is when the season shifts, I want the Lord to catch me singing.
All right.
Like, and it just it's beautiful. So that's really
Love
high
that.
on
Love
what I'm
that.
listening to right now. Dina Wright sings "Make Room."
Dated her.
Did you?
Yeah.
I believe that.
Fosse.
I
Is she a
believe
girl?
that.
Is she a girl?
So those two, and
Okay.
then Taylor Swift
Oh,
just
right.
released
Yeah.
the Taylor version of Wildest Dreams, and it is
Wildest
Ooh.
Dreams.
Wildest Dreams. What a song!
That's
Yeah,
a
Her
song.
writing is so unstoppable.
I agree.
Also, we're on first name basis too, so it's no big
Are you?
deal.
No.
I mean,
Yeah.
she goes by Tay, but yes.
Right.
Speaking of Greece,
Not again.
favorite movie.
My favorite movie is You've Got Mail.
Oh, I
The
love it.
classic.
So good.
Classic Meg, classic Tom.
Teenagers do
yeah.
not know what to do with AOL.
I saw. Was it Carlos?
Yes, it was
watching
Carlos
it the other
Whitaker,
day.
yeah.
Yes.
That's right.
Oh yeah.
I love that movie. I think it's really fun.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So let's go watch that because that sounds fun.
Yeah, right?
Any last things you want to say?
Anything I said wrong you want to fix while we're
Yeah.
all here?
Yeah.
I thought it was perfect.
No.
No, it was great. Thank
Thank
you.
you
Aaron.
so
Were we
much.
too bossy about people reading their Bible?
Just the pet peeve part.
Oh, just that.
Big- big-
Be
big
on
part.
time.
Yeah.
Read your Bible and be on time.
Yes.
That's what Annie told me. I don't like her.
You're like, yeah, that's fun.
Thank you, Annie.
Thanks for having me. You guys
No,
are doing
thank
good
you.
work. I am honored to be a part of it.
Okay, so this week we're going to experience and practice fun in the presence of God. So here we go. And remember to rate this podcast on whatever platform that you listen to it on. Just go and rate it. A 5 would be great. You can comment on this, which is super helpful for us and super helpful for other people to see that this podcast is helpful and fun. And then would you share this podcast with other people? That would be rad. And I did say rad because I did grow up in the Orange County, California. Okay, till next time. Bye.